Thou tellest my flittings, put my tears into thy bottle. Are not all of these things noted in thy book? A verse from Psalm 56 to get us underway with a new week on Going to Ground. Good morning. It's good to be with you, and I come to you from the new Rumsey Compost heap. There we are. I'm rather proud of this. This is the fruit of our labours this weekend. There's not much you can't make out of pallets, of course, and we spent our leisure hours shifting compost from one corner of the garden to another, rather like Sisyphus, except that this, of course, has a creative aim, and there is something very rewarding about using what's been discarded and seeing things grow from it. Well, I wonder how you are, and what remembrances there were for you over the weekend. Thank you for, if you listened yesterday, there was a longer piece, a written piece on that theme of the reappearance of our loved ones, as it were, and that's on my WordPress blog if you wanted to look at that. I love that verse from the Psalm, Thou tellest my flittings, are not all of these things recorded in thy book? It's almost as if it portrays God as our recorder somehow, almost as if he is life's biographer, whose account is the authorized version of our lives. Open to question, of course. There are many competing accounts that could be given of our lives, but this is how the psalmist is presenting it, as if God is present in those flittings, in those little everyday movements. There's a lot of flitting in our life at the moment, from one corner of the garden or the house to another, and God is portrayed in the psalm as just with us, noting them down, even carrying, somehow distilling or carrying the each tear that we shed into his bottle, keeping a record, a very precise record of the smallest details of our life, in order to hold it dear, to tell the true story of it. It feels like thou tellest it. Yesterday, while we were shifting the compost, I found underneath the old compost heap, lurking there, a toad. There have been various creatures, haven't they, cropped up? And I'm a fairly low-rent naturalist, but I felt a little bit like Gilbert White, who is the parson naturalist, you know, from Selborne village, who, rather than preparing agenda for his PCC, tended to spend his time recording the movements of toads across his rectory garden. And there was a toad, almost literally beneath the harrow, as I was poised with my spade to take another swipe at the pile. There he was. So I got him out, held him with my gardening gloves, obviously, and carried him over to the new site, and placed him under the hedge. But there was a lovely sense, it reminded me of Gilbert White and his being a recorder of the tiniest movements of creatures when they arrived in the garden. What it was like this time in comparison to the previous year or month. God is the one we hear today who records those things in order to tell the true story of our life. So whatever flittings you are about today, bear in mind that the Lord is with you in them, and they can turn something discarded, a discarded day even, into something creative and fertile. God bless you as you go to ground.